pretty backlit, so they're hard to see. But there's a whole bunch of bulls right there living in the neighborhood. All right, we are headed out for day one of Kris's antlerless elk hunt. We're up in the White Mountains of central Arizona. We're probably, I don't know, maybe 30 miles from the border of New Mexico. But we're headed out to the first spot where Kris was able to shoot her first elk 2 years ago, and we're going to check it out. We're going to try and be real stealthy and get in here and check up with you guys here in just a little bit. All right, we're back to the side-by-side. We went into some of our good spots where you can see a lot of country, and there is nothing out there. So we are going to, since we didn't get a chance to scout, we're going to make a move in the side-by-side and go cover a little bit of country. We've got some other really good productive areas, but we got to figure out where these elk are. We got a little bit of snow on the ground, but not very much. I think you can see a little bit back there. We don't have a lot of snow, and it's not near as cold as I expected it to be. So I don't know. We're gonna have to figure it out a little bit, but we're jumping in and making a move. All right, we got to get looking pretty hard here coming into this meadow.
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels really different this year. You know, we had so much more snow, and then there were so many elk around out in the big meadows, and then they were using these little ones back here. But it feels really, really different this year. It's not as cold, and just not seeing them out there, not seeing much sign.
Not seeing much movement of anything.
No, not yet.
No. Still pretty though.
So we got some elk over there, but they're already running. They're slowing down, so we are going to get up here just a little bit. But yeah, big herd. Sorry, kind of got off of them a little bit, but big herd. We need to make a little move here because they're going to slow down.
No, they're stopping.
Okay, we just saw a big herd running. We're going to cover some ground and see if we can kind of catch up with them. This is going to be a tough one to catch up to them, but let's see what we got. Shot her elk last year, so it's about, I don't know, 5/8 of a mile or so from here. But there's some other hunters around, people riding around on side-by-sides. The elk, they may have completely outdistanced us, or it could be game on any time here. So we're going to keep moving slowly up through the woods here and head up towards where Kris got her elk last year. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a good plan. I hear the people walking around out here with some dogs, but they were slowing down, so I feel like we could walk into them, and like he said, where I shot my one last year. So I think we're gonna continue to kind of look for them and not head back.
All right.
We're looking.
All right. Not great that it's going that way, but we're gonna head over here. So yeah, that's not great at all. It'd be a lot better if that was going that way. I think we sort of have the high ground a little bit here. We're up on top of a little knoll. I can pull up. We're kind of right up on the top of this little knoll through this saddle and then get over here, and then we're going to hit all this. We're going to hit these steep contour lines because I think they're laying down up in that stuff. So we'll see if we can get it done. The elk definitely have the advantage. We put in a pretty good effort, but we're back at the side-by-side now. We hiked about 2.5 miles, and we lost the elk up in the woods. I think we got behind them, and they're just impossible to keep up with if you get behind. Maybe we should have got back to the side-by-side sooner and drove around and got ahead of where I think they were going, but at least we know there's a good number of elk in the area. It was a big herd, and yeah, so at least we don't have to feel like we got to go look in other places to find some elk. So we're gonna drive back to the trailer here and probably head back for some lunch and then plan out the evening hunt. We're starting to get kind of low on light, and we've got, I don't know, maybe another 20 minutes, but we saw a really big herd today. We put in a good effort. We put some mileage in, just couldn't catch up to them. We spent a little bit of time out in the side-by-side looking around, and the roads are a combination of snow, ice, and mud, but altogether it's not too bad. We've kind of spent a bunch of time also looking at the map and trying to figure out, where we think those elk were coming from when we saw them this morning and where they were going, and if they're going to come back in here. And we've also seen a couple of other hunters in here today, but we're going to put in this last 20 or so minutes before it gets dark, and then we'll be heading back to the truck and back out first thing in the morning. So maybe we'll get it done this evening, but I got a feeling you're going to see us back here tomorrow. All right, it's the second morning, and we're on the move. We got into the elk right away, but they winded us. They're not spooked, but they're moving. We're heading back to the side-by-side. We're going to cover a bunch of ground and try and get around them. So wish us luck. We're on them early, but it's going to be tough. All right, when we found the elk, they were that way, and then they were moving this direction. So we circled around, and then we heard that shot up there. There was one single shot up there. It sounded a ways off. I don't know if the elk we're looking for went all the way up there or if they're still over here. So I think we're going to ease back through here and circle back around towards the side-by-side. Because if they're that way and they're 1.5 miles away, we're never going to catch them. We'll never catch up. So, Kris, we're going to go back that way. Cool. Got into that herd pretty early this morning, and I kind of walked in on them too fast. I was expecting them to be more out in the open, and they were up in the tree line, and so we ended up bumping them. They weren't spooked, running, but they were alert and they were moving away from us. So we tried to make a play and figure out how to get in front of them, and ultimately it didn't work. So we did hear a shot a ways off from us in the general direction those elk might have been going, but it's hard to say if they were going there. But it's the only shot we've heard this morning, and while we're out hiking in the woods, we're just hearing vehicles drive all around, and we're not hearing shots, and we know all these guys are driving around all these different meadows. So these elk, I think, are pretty beat up on. There's a bunch of seasons, a lot of people are finding them, and I think these elk are just, like I say, just kind of pushed around and beat up on. And so I think they're very, very nocturnal, and after that they're going up and laying down up in the dark woods. So we're going to make a play and drive over to another area and do a hike up into the dark woods and see if we can move in on them. It's just tough hunting. It's real thick. There's laid down timber everywhere. It's just crisscrossed all over. It's totally advantage elk, but we made it work last year. Kris was able to get her off doing that last year, so we're going to give it a go. What do you think, Kris? Sound like a good plan?
Sounds like a good plan. We're just, at this point, a needle in a haystack, because it all looks good, and there's sign everywhere. So, but the most sign we saw has been up in the dark woods, the freshest and the most. So I have confidence in that.
Yeah. These elk have been in here really thick. There's just everywhere out here. These little scrapes like this. See another one right over here. They're around in here. It's really thick country, but really, really hard to hunt. This is right in the area where Kris shot her elk last year, and you can kind of see it's just real tough country to move around in. You got to have all the right conditions. They could be right here, but I'm not liking our odds right now, to be honest. So the elk winded us. They just moved in front. We're kind of in good shape now. I don't think you'll be able to see them, but the elk are over in this hillside right over here. They're just about to crest the top. They're probably 1,000 yards from us. It's a herd of probably about 15, so we're keeping an eye on them for now, but we're gonna have to start making a move to try and figure out how to get in front of them. Okay, we're on the move. We got out first thing bright and early this morning, and the wind wasn't very good for us. We spotted some elk. They're a long ways away. I think they're going to try and circle back this way, so we're going to try and get into a better position. We've got elk out here, and we're trying to move on them, but every inch of the way, the wind keeps changing on us into absolutely worst case scenario. So every time we try and circle a different direction, the wind is really messing us up. But we've got some elk up here. They're a couple, 800 or 1,000 yards out. So the plan worked, and we caught up to them, and they went through pretty much where I thought they would. We had them at about 390 yards, but the wind is just a curse for us today, every step of the way. Every direction we go, it's blowing straight at the elk. And so they winded us at 416 yards. We were standing completely still in the trees. They ran off. We're not dead yet, but it's looking pretty rough right now for this morning.
I can't take a 400-yard shot.
No.
Just not set for it.
Yeah, we've got Kris set up. We did her maximum point blank range. We were set up for deer season. We were at 250 yards for, I think, a 5-inch circle, and she's shooting a 6.5 Creedmoor. So 416-yard shot would be doable with the right gear, but it's just not doable for us right now. So we're going to try and get around them. All right, this is pretty cool. We're driving a ways to hunt, but we got the neighborhood elk right here. I don't know if you can hear them, but check this out. These are just all the neighborhood elk out here. So we got all these little bulls. There's like, looks like a pretty good 6x6 over there. Oh yeah, he's a good one laying down over there. These guys here. Fun and games in elk country. There's some going that way, and that's fine. Too much stuff in the way and I can't get a good range. Okay, let's go. We gotta get over the top of this hill, and I think we're gonna see them. They're gonna be right up here. I didn't get it on film. Kris just dropped one. We were on them. It was lights out. That thing went straight to the ground. It didn't move. It looks like it was a great shot. Good job, Kris. Good job. That was a very stressful situation. There was a lot of stress going on there. A lot of emotion. It's all right. It's all good. You did it again. 3 years in a row. All right. We're gonna walk down here and go find our elk. All right, Kris, we got it done again. Yeah. This is 3 years in a row you got your elk. How do you feel today?
I feel okay. A little sad.
A little emotional?
Yeah, but I'm happy. I'm happy that we got one, and I thank her very much for giving her life today.
Well, and it's always an emotional thing, and for the people that don't have emotion for this, those are the people I worry about. You know, we're meat hunters, and I don't like the killing part.
I don't like the killing part.
You know, and this gives us, we got meat in the freezer for the next year, and
yeah,
it's exciting and sad at the same time.
Exciting and sad at the same time.
Well, good job though, and we're gonna spare everybody the sausage making part of this. We're gonna get this girl broke down and get her out of here and out to a processor today. So another year successful elk hunt.